Are you considering buying your first home in Calgary and feeling a little bit overwhelmed? There's a lot to take in, need a little bit of support? Don't worry, I've got you covered. Hey folks, it's Alex Menzies here, your local Calgary Realtor with eXp Realty, here to provide you with the key information that you need to make an informed decision in the Calgary real estate market. Now, if you're a first-time buyer, stick around. I've got some awesome information here for you that's going to help you on your real estate journey. Like the video if you're enjoying it, subscribe if you want to see more content, and please comment down below if I can be of any further support to you. And without further ado, let's get into what you need to know as a first-time buyer in Calgary. Now, as a first-time buyer, it's super important for you to have an understanding of the current state of the market. Now, here in Calgary, things have been a little bit crazy for the past year or so. We've seen a lot of issues with inventory, and unfortunately at the moment, we're still having those issues. Now, we just had the most recent update from the Calgary Real Estate Board on the state of the Calgary market. Unfortunately, things haven't shifted in the direction that we'd hoped for. We've had a lot of new listings come onto the market, but equally, there's still a lot of people buying. So we need to tip the scales a little bit more. That may happen in the coming months. But for now, what I can recommend for buyers is that you need to have that support of a realtor. I'll go into a little bit more detail later in the video as to why that's super important. But for the moment, the things that you need to know: number of days on market for March. The most recent update that we received was 20 days on market across Calgary. The benchmark pricing across all properties is increasing, particularly in the east and the northeast of Calgary. But if you want to find out a little bit more and go into a deep dive into what's going on in the market, please subscribe to my channel. You'll be able to have those monthly updates, especially if you click that icon bell. You'll be notified of when those new videos come online, and we'll go into a little bit more detail about that later on in the video. As a first-time buyer, knowing when to buy is just as important as knowing what to buy. So being informed about the current trends with the real estate market is super critical. But beyond that, we need to talk about finances. So if you're serious about purchasing your first home, it's time to get those finances in check. Make a list of all your regular outgoing expenses and chip away at some of those less than crucial expenses that you've got on a recurring basis month on month. It's good to do this as soon as you can, especially once you know that you want to jump on the property ladder. But also, you want to build this as a regular habit, and it's something that you want to review on a regular basis. The reason being is that you don't want to get caught out when there's a major expense coming your way. Once you own your own property, any maintenance or repairs, depending on the type of ownership you have, that falls on your shoulders. So it's super important that you don't get caught short. You need to be prepared for those big expenses if something goes wrong, especially during winter time. If it's going to be something to do with your furnace or anything like that, you need to be prepared. So get into a regular habit of reviewing your finances, seeing where you can get rid of some of those less than necessary expenses, and make sure that you've got enough of a backlog there, enough in your savings in case you need it. Trust me, I've been there. So once you've got your finances in check, you need to speak to a qualified mortgage broker to get yourself pre-approved. It's worth noting that there's a bunch of schemes available now for first-time buyers, which will support you in that buying process for your first property. In particular, there's the Home Buyers Incentive Scheme. This is a government scheme which essentially acts as an equity share mortgage, where they can provide you with 5% or 10% of the value of the property, and this needs to be repaid, or the property needs to be sold within a 25-year period. Once you do sell the property, if you haven't paid that money back in the interim, the amount that you pay back to the government will be equal to the percentage value, not the dollar value, of the property at the time of sale. So the market value when you sell the property, not when you originally took it out. Now, it's worth noting that this is strictly for new construction properties. So it's not applicable to older properties or anything else, just new build homes. In addition, you can use a number of strategies to support your down payment as a first-time buyer. In particular, you can draw from your RRSP up to 35K, and this is per person, but with a maximum of 2 people. So you can go up to 70K there and draw that from your RRSP. This is obviously a tax-free option as well, which is really great for some people. You need to be mindful of the fact that within 15 years, you're going to have to pay that back. It's going to be an installment basis, but this could be another great option for those of you that are a little bit stuck for down payment. Also, be sure to notify your accountant when you have purchased your first home here in Calgary. The reason being is that you get a tax credit of up to $10,000. once you've purchased your home within that particular tax year. Please note, however, this is only applicable if the property that you've purchased is your primary residence, so it's not applicable to investment properties here, unfortunately. This is just a general overview, so please speak to a licensed mortgage broker to get the most up-to-date information on all the schemes and all the different mortgage products that are available to you. It is a massive, massive investment that you're making, so you want to make sure that you are getting expert advice. This is, again, just a general overview. I'm a realtor, not a mortgage broker. I would always encourage people to go to a number of different mortgage brokers. The reason being is that if you go just direct to your bank, they're going to be limited by the products that they offer there at the bank itself. Whereas if you go to an independent mortgage broker, they're going to be able to provide you with a broad range of products and find you the most suitable thing for your needs. I highly recommend Nitu Realtsev, who I've worked with personally in the past year. She is an awesome person. She's very knowledgeable about the market, and she's on social media. So I will leave a link down below for her YouTube channel. Go and check it out, subscribe, get all the latest info and updates. She's a regular uploader and she's got some awesome information to share with you guys for free. Starting out your property search can be a little bit overwhelming. There's a lot of variables at play. There's a lot of factors to consider, but there's a couple of things that you can do to make this process a little less daunting. Once you've established the kind of community you want to live in and the kind of home you want to own, it's great practice to make a list of your wants and needs. And this should be broken down into essential, non-negotiable items and things that are kind of just nice to have, right? When you're looking for properties, don't just go online and scroll endlessly and look for the best price and this, that, and the other. There's a bunch of things that you need to consider. I would highly recommend you go and drive around some neighborhoods, see what's going to fit you and your needs best, whether you're an individual, whether you're a couple, whether you're a family, whatever it may be. Go and see the actual neighborhoods themselves and visit the open houses and speak to the realtors there. Try your best not to get caught up in just the aesthetics of the property itself, okay? Try and picture yourself living there, look at the space, think about where you spend the majority of your time when you are at home, whether you're renting or whether you're with parents or whatever it may be right now. Think about where you're going to be spending the majority of your time, and does that space fit your needs? And again, this is going to be different for absolutely everybody, depending on whether they are an individual, whether they're a couple, or whether they're a family. If you've got young kids running around, you may want to have a bonus room that's going to provide them space for a little play area. You may want a certain number of bedrooms so that everybody in the house has got their own room, right? There's a bunch of things to take into consideration. So please make sure that you actually step foot in a property before you get your heart set on something online. And that will also help guide the rest of your search with these properties that you're looking at. And when you go into these properties and you actually look at them in person, take your list of wants and needs with you. See how many you can check off the list. If it ticks all the boxes, it may well be the right property for you. One common misconception and something that a lot of people tend to do is they will just approach the listing agent directly when they want to go view a property. Now, this is absolutely fine. There's no issue with this whatsoever, but I would highly recommend you getting your own realtor, depending on the type of relationship you want to have them. But that's another topic to go into in another video. If you approach the seller agent directly, bear in mind that they will have a representation agreement with that particular client, and they will always be working in their client's best interests. With that in mind as well, there will be certain facts and things about the property that they won't necessarily be obligated to tell you as the potential buyer. A realtor representing you can support you in asking the right questions at the right time, regardless of whether or not the selling agent is obliged to answer them or not. It's better to ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. Equally, they can support you in getting the right property for your needs at the right price and help you with that negotiation process. But it's not just about what you pay for it at the time, right? You may want to think of it as a long-term investment, in which case you need to have an understanding of what the resale value may be. It's also worth getting a full inspection carried out to make sure there's no defects hidden underneath. These will only be uncovered when you take the steps to get a proper inspection completed on the property. Realtors can also help you find properties that have not yet hit the market. I commonly get notified of properties that are not yet on the market through people within my brokerage. Again, as I said, I'm with eXp Realty, and we've got a broad network of agents across Canada, across the US, and and the rest of the world at this point. So we're constantly sharing this information with one another within the brokerage, and this broad network that we have is such a huge benefit to any of our clients because we can present you with information on properties that are coming onto the market that have not yet gone live, and it may just be the ideal property for you. In addition to this, we can actually take your criteria for that property, bearing in mind that list of wants and needs that we spoke about previously, and we can go knocking on doors for you. So if you've got a particular community that you want to buy a property in, or a particular style of property within a community that is not currently available, we can actually go out, we can knock on doors on your behalf, as in some cases people may be on the fence about putting their property on the market, but when presented with the opportunity of listing their property and selling it direct to a pre-approved first-time buyer with no chain behind them, they may just decide to put their property on the market there and then just for you. Once you've found the home that you want, it's time to put your offer forward. This should be competitive, yet within your budget. You don't want to overstretch yourself, especially not with this first home. And a competent realtor will be able to advise you on this depending on the type of relationship that you have with them. Again, that's for another video. They can then in turn support you with the negotiations, the conditions, if any, that you want to put in the contract. And once everything moves ahead, there's a fair amount of paperwork, yes, and there's a lot of variables at play, but as soon as all the legal matters are satisfied, you get the keys and you get to start your new life in your beautiful new home that you have picked. Buying your first home is a major milestone in life. And while it may seem daunting, armed with the right information and given the right guidance, it can be an incredibly rewarding and pain-free journey. So if you're ready to take the leap into home ownership in Calgary, feel free to reach out to me. I would be delighted to support you. Feel free to comment down below if you've got any questions in the meantime. All my contact info is in the description of the video, including a link where you can book a 30-minute Zoom call with me if you want to. If you want to stay up to date on all the latest trends and all the latest updates in the Calgary real estate market, click on this link up here to find the playlist on all the latest market updates that I provide on a monthly basis. In the meantime, please like the video if you found it helpful, subscribe if you want to see more content. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.